I won't make excuses for anyone who is not in control of their own rage. I know firsthand what it's like to walk around carrying that kind of rage. I walked around like that on the streets of San Francisco, on the way to work, on the way home to work, on the way to the grocery store, at the grocery store. I started out just yelling at people, picking fights with people, always, always, always strange men who they were there. And maybe they were looking at me, maybe they weren't. Maybe they were going to sexually harass me. Maybe they did sexually harass me. Maybe they didn't. But the point is, the rage was in here. It didn't have anything to do with them. But I didn't know that. And so eventually, I was actually hitting strange men on the street. People do that kind of shit because it feels good to give in to your anger and because they want to. I wanted to give in to my rage and hit somebody. And my psychiatrist was right. It's a miracle that I never got arrested. It's a miracle that we don't own guns. I have had long conversations with myself about how fortunate it is that we don't own guns, and that certainly that we didn't have any guns at that time. I'm sure in my rage I might have shot somebody. I'm just sure. And it would have been a stranger. It would have been a stranger that I made a familiar by indulging in paranoid fantasies that that person was out to get me. But what I really wanted to do was not protect myself from any danger. What I really wanted to do was act out on my rage. I make excuses for nobody who gives into that bullshit. Their own bullshit and lies that they're telling themselves. I grew up in Nebraska, and I have been to a number of weddings and funerals in little churches, like the church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, where a man came in one Sunday and killed 26 people, including children. I have a very vivid picture in my mind of what that little church probably looked like. They're tiny. They're so tiny. They have a double door at the front. You open the door, there's plain wooden pews with hymnals on them, of course, and red carpeting. Everything else is painted white, including up at the altar area where the pulpit is. And for some reason, I can only think of one of these little churches that I've ever been in where there wasn't a second, and maybe once or twice I've seen a third door on the sides of the church near the altar area. So what I pictured in my mind when I started hearing reports about this massacre in Texas was only the people near the front of the church had a snowball's chance of getting out of one of those doors, because they couldn't get out through the double doors, because that's where he was. And I just imagine people probably were shooting under the pews. And I don't know the science of it or the physics of it, but how safe could you be from automatic weapons even under an oak pew? How safe could you be? And I find it hard to believe that he didn't think all of that through very carefully when he was planning this little drama, which for everybody else except him is a tragedy.